Hello? Yes, looks like the $25 million deal in Mexico is a done deal now.
Like most of us, Tony Alvarez had a dream. He made his come true.
It was to eventually open up a store and be successful at opening up that store. But the dream went on a little bit further, and we opened up with 15 stores.
That all happened recently, within 5 short years. From his high-rise office overlooking the valley, Tony runs his entrepreneurial empire. He owns the Little Caesars Pizza franchise valley-wide. Though he never quite expected it, Tony's arrived. He's hit the big time, any way you slice it.
You can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to ask questions. And by all means, you've got to go out there and toot your own horn. Nobody else will care about you or your company as much as you do.
Little Caesars markets a product called Crazy Bread. But for Tony Alvarez, Crazy Bread is not only what he makes in the oven, it's what he's made from the success of his pizza franchises. Yet Tony didn't start out well off. In 1981,
I was sleeping on the floor to try to make a living and still trying to pay off a lot of debt.
Tony was a social worker at the time. He had no business background, but he put together a business plan with the assistance of the local University Center for Entrepreneurship and Economic Development. And that made all the difference. But once your business is operating, Tony cautions that
besides being well informed of the industry that you're getting into, finding out about your competition, finding out about the availability of merchandise, the marketing, you need to have some capital to sustain the rough periods.
But Tony's made it over the rough periods. His Little Caesars franchise has afforded him the kind of capital and connections to become an international investor in other ventures. As a matter of fact, Tony has now teamed up with the national Applebee's Grill and Bar chain out of Kansas City. Out of 6 brand new Applebee's openings the same day, the president of the company, Abe Gustin, brought his group to McAllen to celebrate the grand opening of Tony's restaurant. That just shows the kind of loyalty and respect Tony commands.
Tony Alvarez is probably destined to be one of our better franchisees across the United States. Without a doubt, I sincerely believe that. Tony and I will probably be talking about Mexico this week, and I'm sure he's got some ambitions to move the concept into Mexico, which are pretty similar to what some of my ambitions are, and I think we'll probably reach a meeting of the minds this week and get something put together along those lines.
Do you think Mexico's ready for Applebee's?
Oh, extremely. I think Applebee's is ready for Mexico and vice versa. I think hopefully sometime next year we'd like to see if we can open up our first Applebee's out in Mexico.
Okay. Now, how would you say Applebee's in Spanish?
Applebee's. Did you get the accent?
So Abe and his chief insurance broker, along with Tony and their wives, decided to take a part tourist, part fact-finding trip down to Monterrey, Mexico today. We even took a shot inside the plane to show all the merriment going on.
I will too. Just trying to make me laugh.
As long as it doesn't filter up any more than you.
And they're on their way. Upon returning from their trip to Mexico, a lavish party was thrown at the Alvarez home for several of their special guests. There we had a chance to talk with Tony and his wife Estella's twin daughters. Okay, tell me your name, please.
My name is Andrew.
Andrea, and you are Lauren, right?
Yes.
Okay, how old are you?
We are 9 years old.
9 years old, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're both the same age?
Yes.
Okay, and you look like you're very similar. You know, are you twins, maybe?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And what do you think about being twins? Do people give you a hassle about that?
Yes.
Yeah? What don't you like about being twins?
Just dressing alike. Dressing
Huh?
alike.
Dressing alike? You always got dressed the same? Yeah. And what do you like about being twins?
Joking our teachers and making our friends. I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah. You like being twins? Yeah. What do you like about it?
We could fight.
Huh?
We could fight.
You can fight? You can fight. You can beat two of you can gang up on somebody, right? You can beat them up?
Yep.
Okay, so that's an advantage, right? Oh, okay, what else?
We can kind of joke some of our friends that I'm Aunt Lauren and she's Andrea.
Oh, so you can kind of fake them out. Is that what you mean? So you can trick them and they think that you're vice versa, right?
Yes.
Okay, well that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, you never know, huh? You can trick them. Okay. Now, what do you think about your mom and dad opening this Applebee's?
It's okay. With all football things and music guys, actors, some movies, cartoonists.
So it's pretty cool, huh?
Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley? You don't know Elvis, do you?
Elvis Presley, the guitar, the pictures.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And they also, you know, at Little Caesars, they never served any alcohol, and now over here they're going to have alcohol, right?
No.
So you guys going to get drunk?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, hope not. You better not.
The party continued inside, where Mr. Guston got into a discussion about golf with Tony Jr.
Have you taken any golf lessons? How many?
About 3.
3? But you've been practicing how long?
About a year or 2.
Have you played an entire 18 holes now?
18? No. 9, yes.
And what's your best 9 holes?
I think maybe. No, hold on. I think it was 8 I played with my friends, and I had a 65.
65? You can partner with me and we will stand this draw.
But the thing is we lost all the balls we had.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
All the balls we had,
Really?
except for 1.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's when you asked me for some more balls, didn't you?
Yes, but that's a different subject.
That has to come out of somebody's salary, right? Or somebody's allowance?
Yes, where are the girls?
I don't know.
Now, we met your daughters, Lauren and Andrea.
Right.
Okay, and this is your son?
Anthony, this is our...
Yes, hi.
Anthony Jr.? You're Anthony Jr.? And how old are you, Anthony?
I'm 11.
Okay. And your sisters say you're the tyrant, that you work them over all the time. Is that right?
Well, sometimes. I'll admit it, sometimes.
Only when they're bad, right?
And they get on my nerves.
Yeah. Okay, Tony, tell us about Mexico. How did it go when you went down to Monterey?
Oh, it went well, very well. We're very pleased, but we know that it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a while. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think we're very pleased with what we saw.
Very good. And Abe, how'd you like Monterey?
Oh,
Have you been there before?
no, I haven't, and very impressed with Monterey. It was a nice city. As Tony said, I think we're a ways away from doing anything there, but the reception was really outstanding. It really was. They're very delightful people. So.
And, did the food agree with you?
The food always agrees with me. I probably gained about 4 pounds in the last 2 days, so yes, it did.
He has a stomach of iron. He can eat anything, anywhere, anytime, and nothing ever affects him. Nothing ever does. He's a lucky man. And we had a fabulous time in Monterey. What is that called that we went? Palenque?
Palenque.
Palenque?
We went to the Palenque where they had the marimba band, and then after that they had the mariachi singers, and then they had the male-female mariachi singers dueling it out, and then at the end they had the rope show, and yeah, and if later on tonight you stick around long enough, we'll see another duel of a type later on tonight.
Yeah, the roosters, right? Is that what you're talking about?
And the roosters also.
The cockfights, is that
Right,
Yeah.
the cockfights. Of course, they didn't have the razors on them, but Linda, did you have some of that chicken last night?
Yes, I did. You know what they told me too? They said, I said, do they have chicken? Because I like chicken. And they said, yes, they have chicken, but you have to wait until after the cockfight is over. So insinuating that whoever lost in the cockfight, I get the remains. They weren't very kind.
By the way, that wasn't an insinuation.
Oh, thank you so much.
We all shared in that delightful, delicious chicken last night.
Yes. I think everybody had some of that.
Tony says that through all the trials and tribulations, he wouldn't be where he is today if it wasn't for his wife Estella, whom he cherishes. Let us get your full name, please.
Estella Alvarez.
Okay, and you have something to do with Tony, don't you?
His better half.
Okay. You were just making a comparison between Tony and I. What were you saying?
Tony's a perfectionist. He's always has been.
And that's worked to his betterment, hasn't it?
Yes. If it's not perfect, it's not gonna go.
How do you feel about that, Stella?
Well, I've known him for 19 years, and so it's good. It's good. No, what can I say? Everything is fine. I wouldn't change anything. Nothing about him.
Now, Tony has said that you're really the driving force that really has made him successful. How do you feel about that?
He's absolutely correct. No, I think, he'll tell you, I was the one that told him about Little Caesars, and I'm the one that told him about Applebee's. And it was just a good feeling that I had, and just call it a woman's intuition. Something that males do not have.
At one point, we got an opportunity to talk with Abe Gustin some more, along with his wife and some other special guests about their trip to Monterey. Introduce us, if you would, please.
This is my lovely wife, Linda Gustin. And we have been married for almost 2 years. She chased me for 2 years prior to that, and I finally let her catch me.
That is a lie.
Now, what's the real truth, Linda?
The real truth is he pursued me hot and heavy.
He's a lucky guy, I would say. What do you think?
Very much so.
Okay, tell us about Monterey, if you would, Abe. How is it down there?
Monterey was nice. We obviously came into something we didn't expect, which was, I think, being welcomed by the entire city. It looked like every hour there was another dignitary welcoming us to Monterey. So it was a nice experience. We had a couple of very nice lunches and dinners, and we had a marvelous time.
I asked Abe if he thought Applebee's menu would work there.
Oh, yes. I think we have a number of what we call Tex-Mex or Southwestern that would fit very well in Monterey. Obviously, with our flexibility in menu, we would tailor part of our menu to fit the Monterey culture. So it's not that you're going in with a totally American menu. We looked at a number of dishes there that were very delightful, that were, something new for us. Certainly we could incorporate those into our menu. So,
maybe lay off the hot sauce, or what do you?
I think we would add two. Many jalapenos.
Also accompanying Tony, Abe, and their wives to Monterey were Marvin and Norma Altman from Kansas City. What is your association with Applebee's?
I am the insurance broker for Applebee's franchisees and the Applebee's franchisor system, of which Mr. Gustin is president, chairman, and CEO.
Okay, so that means essentially if there's any problem in a liability sense?
Sure, the individual stores and many of the franchisees, and Tony and Estelle have made us very welcome, and we are insuring their new store, and hopefully with the other restaurants that they will be opening up.
Okay. So So if somebody is walking through Applebee's and happens to slip on some spilled beer, you're the guy they call.
Calling my office in Kansas City.
Very good. All right.
He's the guy.
And Norma, is it? Norma, how do you like being down here in McAllen?
What's not to like? We have had wonderful hosts. Estelle and Tony have been just overwhelmingly generous, lovely hosts. They took us to Monterey. We had an extremely fun weekend. I've seen sights I've never seen before. They have given us long-stem red roses for the wonderful occasion. It's been delightful.
Would you say it's just a little bit different than Kansas City?
A tad. But you know, you're going to compare the Wizard of Oz to a lot of other things, and we are different.
Throughout the evening, dignitaries and old friends couldn't say enough good things about Tony.
He said he was having a party, so we came.
Can't miss a party, right? Okay. How would you finish the sentence if you would? Tony Alvarez is?
Tony Alvarez is small business personified.
Okay, very good. He's what it's all about, isn't he?
He's what it's all about. That you begin with, you might say, inadequate resources, and then you have to be a salesman. You have to convince those that will provide you the resources that you've got a product, or if you don't have the product, that you've got the personality to sell their product. And this is what franchises are all about. This is what he has.
Tony's what America's all about, isn't he? He struggled from, you know, hardly anything?
That's it. That's only in the United States, only in America that you can do this. With one exception, I might tell you, Yogi Berra and all his sayings that someone says, did you know that the president of Ireland is Jewish? And Yogi Berra says, I told you, only in America.
Tito, if you would, what is your association with Tony?
Well, as you know, I'm an attorney, and I specialize in international law. I represent U.S. companies doing business in Mexico, and Tony came to see me. He feels like the Rio Grande Valley is too small for he and his wife, Stella, and so they're looking to do something in Mexico, so they've sought our help in doing that.
Now, this is with regard to Applebee's or Little Caesars?
Well, at the present time, it's Applebee's, yes.
How would you describe Tony?
Tony is a dynamic individual, a spark plug that has very definite ideas, very definite goals, and he knows what he wants and he knows how to go get it.
Ricardo, you're the mayor of Mission, I believe, right?
Last I checked.
Okay, yeah. And I think more importantly, you're one of Tony Alvarez's best friends, is what I understand, from the old days.
Yes, we're very old friends. We ended up being roommates up in Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan. We were both working on our master's degrees, and by coincidence, we ended up roommates, and by coincidence, he ended up in Mission, Texas, and with the Little Caesars franchise, and it's really, he's done great for himself, and we're real proud of him.
How would you describe Tony?
He's a kind and giving person, and he's very astute business-wise. He knows a good deal when he sees one, and I think he pursues it aggressively, and I think that's the difference between him and the average person, and that he knows what makes a good deal.
How would you describe Tony?
Tony's family, and we baptized the twins, and because of that, we're very proud to be a part of their family, and we feel very close to them, and I'm sure they feel close to us, and we've just developed a very good relationship for the last 15 years, and you know, it's been wonderful. It's wonderful to have these kind of friends.
Norma, how do you feel about Tony and Stella?
Well, they're our dearest, dearest friends, and of course their family is, they're our children also. Even though in this past 15 years we've all lived in different parts of the country, but we've always been in close touch with each other. So they're very dear to our hearts.
It's kind of one of those situations where maybe you don't see somebody for a long time, but no matter when you do see them, it's like it's old times once again. It's like it's like they never left. Is that what you mean?
Exactly, exactly.
Very good. Finish this sentence if you would, Fernando. Tony to me is.
He's like my brother. I don't have a brother. I have two sisters, and we have that kind of relationship. We talk about problems that we have, business, personal, and then we've developed that kind of relationship. I think we both have a very strong feeling for each other and the families as well. You know, it's just something that we've developed very close. We don't know why, but they're great people. I guess that's why, and it's just something that happened, and we're very proud of it. And I think the fact that they gave us the honor of baptizing their two daughters made us even that much closer, and so we're very proud of it.
Roland Ariola is the director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and Economic Development at the University of Texas, Pan Am. In 1988, he helped Tony put together a business plan, which was a key element that ultimately led to Tony's success, at a time when things looked bleak for Tony. And how do you feel personally toward Tony because of your association with him?
Well, I feel very close to him because you know, we get very, very close to the people that we work with, our clients, the entrepreneurs. They come into our office with a dream, and he had a dream, and he made it come true. He's the type of person that nothing will stop him. He's just always on the go and has a lot of drive and ambition, and he does, I mean, I've never seen an entrepreneur that works as hard as he does, and I think that's the key to his success.
Would you say that that Tony is the embodiment of the American dream in a sense?
I would think so. I mean, if you look at any definition of an entrepreneur, the person that takes risks, the person that follows through, that meets a challenge head on, I think he is the epitome of what entrepreneurship means.
That night, Tony had a banquet for his guests in appreciation of their support.
I wish to thank all of you for coming tonight on behalf of Mr. A. Guston, who's the president of Applebee's, and Linda Guston, and their friends that joined them, Marvin Altman and Norma Altman, who've joined us here. They mean a lot to us, and I think vice versa, in the sense that they can pick and choose any franchisee in any community that they wish to go to, and luckily for us, there's going to be a lot of stores opening up around the country in the sense that Applebee's is very much of a winner in the casual theme restaurant area. And they've joined us. Not only, typically what they usually do is come in on a Monday or Sunday and come in just for the VIP party, but this time they came on a Friday night, even though Abe has probably got about a week's worth of mail or two that he left behind to come and spend this weekend with us. And we went to Monterrey, and we looked at Mexico, and I think that's very much a reality, and it's on the drawing board right now for perhaps late '94, maybe more reality '95. But I'm glad all of you are here because all of you mean so much to me in one way or another, and you're all part of our success, our past success, our present success, and hopefully our future success, whether it's domestically or internationally. So I welcome you to our home, and this is really our housewarming, as well as thanking the Gustons for being here for tomorrow's VIP, which I hope all of you will be there at Applebee's, which is next to the Black IP on 83, between 5:30 and 8:30, in case you didn't know that. We will all be there again. But I wish to thank also the Congressman for taking time from his busy schedule to be here with us, and Lucio, his lovely wife, also, because I think you had Governor Ann Richards over at Alonso and Yolanda's house, and they were, I think, from last night till about probably 3 hours ago also, taking care of the Congressman, as well as Henry Cisneros, and Secretary Upsey is going to be in town, or is in town right now, and they have a very hectic schedule, but they also want to be part of the Applebee's success that we're experiencing right now. So, and also my old roommate, which some of you know and don't know, but that's Mayor Rick Bettis from Michigan. everybody else that's been here, Mr. Torres, to be a part of the team, and Adrian and Elvia, we plan big things for you this evening. Just ask Marvin and Norma about that. And Javier and Debbie, that we thought before they took over Lone Star, we'd be seeing each other, I mean, every weekend, if not about 4 or 5 days a week, and now we don't see each other at all. And my mother-in-law and father-in-law have come and joined us from Corpus Christi, and of course the children that have always been with us. I think Anthony from the first Little Caesars, and now Lauren and Andrea, to all of the Applebees that we're going to be opening up. And my compadres from Laredo, that really we go far back, about 10, 12 years, but without them, for many reasons, we wouldn't be here right now. And they are the godparents of the twins. So we thank all of you for being here right now, and I toast all of you. Thank you. And enjoy tonight. And any requests from the mariachis, the trio, please, you're at home.
After dinner, the party continued outside by the pool, where a band of 12 mariachis serenaded them into the night. The following evening was VIP night, where only special guests were invited. But before the festivities could get underway, Tony asked Father Gus from Our Lady of Sorrows if he would bless his new enterprise.
Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Lord, the work we are beginning today at this restaurant, enliven the faith of all who work in here, and all those who are using this restaurant to be grateful. We know the words of the psalm, if the Lord does not build a house, in vain do the builders labor. Whenever we look at the interests of our neighbor or community and serve them, we are in a sense God's own workers. Let us pray for help in the celebration of the opening of this restaurant, that God will bring this final construction to successful completion, and that His protection will keep those who work in it and use it safe from all injury. May the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit descend upon this restaurant, its owners, and all who work here, through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You got a beautiful restaurant. Congratulations. You got a beautiful restaurant. Should we go over to...
Congratulations, guys and girls. Surely.
Andrea, Lauren.
Congratulations.
Tony feels that one of the keys to Applebee's success is the extensive training and attitude of the employees, as we see here.
Applebee! Right? Oh, yes, that's it. I'm getting good, yes. I try. Okay, you guys, let's get going. He looks that way anyway. Make sure your tapers are all specced out. Don't help Rob in the back.
It was now time for the traditional ribbon-cutting ceremony, without which no opening would seem complete.
Wish you much success. Everyone here feels that you have a great location. We're sure you do very well. If there's anything the McAllen Chamber can do to help, please feel free to give us a call. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, when I say cut, we're actually going to cut the ribbon.
All right, well, we don't have this go.
Yeah, that's right. That'll do it.
to me for a second. This is a momentous occasion, isn't it?
Oh, very much.
Tell us how you feel.
There's the words. There aren't enough words right now for me to tell you how I feel. It's overwhelming. It's very, very exhilarating right now. Yeah.
You see the sky's the limit? Does that apply here?
Oh, I think so. I think anything. We never thought we'd get this far and opening up just this one store, so I think the sky is the limit, John.
Thank you. All right. Thanks. Good luck, Tony.
Thank you.
Okay. It's pretty exciting, huh?
Dynamite. I think it finally got here. Once you cut the ribbon, it's official. Now you can let the customers in.
All right.
That's great.
How does this compare to some of the other openings you've had around the country?
A little bigger, a little better, a little nicer. It's great.
Tony goes all out, doesn't he?
He does. I don't think he missed a leg.
Tony, would you say Tony's class?
He is. You have to put a first in front of that, though. He's first class. It's dynamite.
Very good. Thank you. Shortly thereafter, the party took off inside.
Oh, darling, if you love me just like the way I do, please don't try to scare me. Just say you love me too. I bet you know, darling, that I told you everything. Open up your heart and let my love come in. Ahora todas cositas mías, déjame entrar. Sabes que te quiero y que no te puedo olvidar. Tú eres mi cariño, yo te quiero just al fin. Open up your heart and let my love be.
Applebee's has a warm and cozy atmosphere about it. Along with an eclectic assortment of food and drink, the walls are decorated with an interesting series of motifs. In one area, there's an historical perspective of the early valley. Another section shows local high school graduates over 50 years old. And one popular area is dedicated to sports heroes. Tony and Estella were surprised when Senator Eddie Lucio showed up, and we got a chance to have a conversation.
Senator, we want to talk to you tonight about the opening here of Applebee's. Tony, as you know, is quite the entrepreneur. What do you think about the fact that Tony's opening this restaurant up here today?
Well, it makes me feel like I'm in other parts of the state where, you know, in big, large metropolitan areas where really you see this type of business, and I'm so happy that Tony brought it to the Valley. You know, the Valley's on the move, and I'm real happy to see businesses sprouting out all over the Valley, and especially here in McAllen, Texas, where a lot of people feel this is a hub, you know, the Valley, of the business community in the Rio Grande Valley. So I want to congratulate Mr. and Mrs. Tony Alvarez. I think that they're wonderful entrepreneurs, and they're giving a lot of job opportunities, which is the main issue anywhere in Texas. People want a job, they want something meaningful in their lives, and by golly, they're going to have a wonderful job here at this wonderful business.
Plus, you like good fajitas, don't you?
I love great fajitas and good company. And what I see here tonight is a lot of wonderful people from throughout the community, from all walks of life, coming in and enjoying themselves. And I'm sure that this is the way you're going to see it from now on.
Tony, how do you feel about the senator being here with you?
Oh, we're very honored and very surprised. I know he's got a very busy agenda, and just ribbon cutting with the governor last night, and I thought really he'd probably be in Austin right now or in Mexico City, and here he is with us, so I'm very honored.
Great. Texas flag for him. We brought an official Texas flag for a great Texas business, and of course, great Texans. And we're real proud of Mr. and Mrs. Alvarez. We wish him a world of success.
Isn't Tony, what Tony's up to, isn't that what America's all about?
That's exactly right. You know, people want to have an opportunity to be in business and provide a good service and make a living. And I'm going to go back to the legislature next session and make sure we we do away with antiquated regulations for small business people and pass good laws that will help business, expand business, and create jobs. That's what it's all about.
Bella, how do you feel about all that?
Oh, that sounds great. I mean, it's like everybody's here and they're having a wonderful, wonderful time. And this is the best group of kids I have seen in the Valley. They are just full of energy, very helpful and everything.
Do you feel honored to be between two such handsome characters?
Of course. Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. We'd like to welcome you to the grand opening of Applebee's, and I want to present the CEO and President of Applebee's, Mr. Tony Alvarez.
Thanks, John. Good evening, everybody, and on behalf of our family, Estela Alvarez, who's Vice President of Renaissance Development Corporation, and myself, our son Anthony, and the twins that are somewhere. So if you see two little girls about age 9 and you think you saw one at one end of the room and you see her at the other end of the room about 2 seconds later, you've got twins running around here somewhere. So it's not that you've had one too many to drink at Applebee's. I'd like to, this time I think I became a little bit more prepared. First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us and making this a very memorable occasion. This is the first of its kind down here, and we're very, very excited and happy that the Applebee's Corporation thought us privileged enough to become franchisees in their system, because there are many people that have attempted to become franchisees, and not everybody is successful. And I think because of our proven record with Little Caesars and performing successfully here in the Valley, we were given that opportunity. Our company started back in 1986 when we started the first Little Caesars Pizza here in North McAllen. And in that time, we've grown to 15 Little Caesars. We're also in the food service business with military contracts up at Fort Hood, Killeen, and now with Applebee's. And none of that could have occurred without very competent and capable staff that we have. And I'd like to give thanks right now to all the people that have helped us, like our Little Caesars employees and the staff that have been able to take care of that operation for us. Our Renaissance Development Corporation administrative staff that takes care of all of the day-to-day operations for us. Our Applebee's corporate trainers that you don't see them around right now as much as you do, and everything is going so smoothly because of them, and they're out in the kitchen right now. But if any of them can hear me, we want to thank them very much. And Debbie, who is, I think, one store shy of retiring and joining corporate staff on a more regular basis. And Paul Toshner and a bunch of the trainers, and Jeff Osborne, done a super job for us. I want to thank our management team. Again, this was made a lot easier because of our operations team, which is headed by Bob Felice. Bob, where is Mr. Bob Felice? Bob is somewhere around here. He's probably taking care of business somewhere. And tonight's party has been taken care of by Libby Mendiola, who is somewhere. Libby's right behind me over here, so I want to give a hand of applause to Libby. This particular site was negotiated for quite a while with us, and I want to thank Adrian Arriaga for helping us find and doing the site selection. Valley Commercial and Joe Sokolinsky for bringing this project in under schedule, and I had hoped maybe under budget, but 1 out of 2 isn't too bad. I want to thank my in-laws for being here with us, Father Pacheco, they gave us the blessing. My mom, bless her heart, in Laredo would like to be here, but I think she'll come another time. The kids, so here's the twins right now, for the patience that they've had with us while Mom and Dad have been out developing Applebee's. And most of all, I keep on forgetting, this time I swore I would not, it's kind of like the music, wings, the wind beneath my wings, with my lovely wife and support by my side, who allows me to work those only 15 hours a day, 6 days a week. So I want to thank her for always being there for us. At this time, I'd want to bring up, if I can, a few people that have said they'd share this memorable moment with us, people in the community that have helped us in one way or another. First of all, I'd like to bring up Mr. Roney from Texas State Bank. Mr. Roney.
Thank you, Tony. It's a real pleasure for me to be here and be your partner in this new business in McAllen. I would like to congratulate the Applebee's group that's over here to the far left that is smart enough to sign you up on this franchise to open this new restaurant in McAllen. And I just learned from you tonight that we're already talking about expanding to the north side of town, and we're ready for you out there, since that's our headquarters. And I think the strong indication of the support you have for this fine restaurant here is the large number of people that have turned out here this evening. And I'd like to extend my congratulations, and it's our pleasure that we were able to be your partner in building this new business for McAllen. Our entire team supports you in this. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce our neighbor of ours. Up at our staff is over, our offices are over at the McAllen National Bank. Calvin Benson. Come on up here, Mr. Benson. Mr. Benson's used to going on safari, so if he can go through some wild game out there, he can definitely make it through a few people.
This is the grandest opening I've been to in a long time, and I'll bet you all will agree to that, won't you? I've known Tony for a long time, and whenever he starts something, it's a grand start, but a fabulous, not finish, but a working arrangement. But Tony does it right, right? Right!
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'd like to introduce now State Senator Lucio. Eddie?
Thank you, Tony, and I too want to join all the wonderful people of McAllen and congratulate you, Tony and Stella, for this wonderful business that is going to be able to provide a lot of people in need of a job with one, and you know that's the number one issue in the whole country, a meaningful job for people to be able to make a living. And I'm so happy to be in McAllen. McAllen just happens to have the greatest mayor in the whole state of Texas. Where is he? Right here. Also Brand. All right. And I mean that, Mayor. He's my good friend. In behalf of the people of Texas, I bring greetings as well from Lieutenant Governor Bob Bullock. I'd like to present an official Texas flag, Tony, to you and the Alvarez family, and we are very proud of you. There's a certificate in there. Wish you a world of success in this wonderful, wonderful business. This is the type of business we see up in Houston and Dallas and Austin. And you brought it to the Valley, and that's wonderful. Congratulate and welcome the Applebee group that's here today from out of town, and just once again wish everyone in attendance a happy, happy holiday season. God bless you all. Thank you.
We'd also now like to bring up Roberto Gutierrez, State Representative Roberto Gutierrez.
Tony and Stella, you know, what can I say? Everything has been said, really, but may I just like to say that the winds of happiness and success will always be behind you, and may God always bless you. Congratulations.
Mayor Brand, mayor of our fine city. Come on up here, Mayor.
All right.
Well, you know, I'd simply like to add a word of appreciation. You know, it's always good to have a new addition to the tax roll, you know that. But a quality organization and operation like this is always an asset to a city, and especially to us today, as we are probably the fastest growing city nearly anywhere, and
probably the best run nearly everywhere, and have a pretty good mayor. But I want to welcome you all to Applebee Group, and I'm sorry I didn't shave, but I want to tell you, I started at 5:30, the first meeting at 5:30 this morning. I haven't quit, and I had to play handball, didn't have time to shave because it was wet when I came out of the shower. But I'm pleased to be here, and I'm sorry I'm late, and I told you I'd be late. Yes, I did. But thank you for coming. Congratulations, and the best of everything.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. What I'd like to do now is just tell you that the Applebee's people, we have a very distinguished guest here today. We've got a couple of them. One is Mr. and Mrs. Abe Guston, who are the, Mr. Guston is the president of Applebee's International. It was under and it is under Mr. Guston's leadership that Applebee's has gotten to this point. When he took it over, there was 54 stores when he bought into the company. And right now, we are number 345. So in about 6 years' time, he's built this company. And also, we have Mr. Marvin Altman here from, they're both from Kansas City. And it's been very much of a pleasure for them to be with us, because this week there have been, I believe, 6 or 7 stores opening today. And we were fortunate enough for them to join us because they had the selection of any franchisee anywhere in the country to be. And we were so honored that they not only attended tonight's party, but they came in Friday night, and we went to Monterrey because they're also interested in going into Mexico, and I think that's on the horizon a year or two away from now. But you know, as franchisees, sometimes people think that it's easy to open up and have a successful restaurant or business, and it really isn't. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a lot of details that must still be adhered to ensure success. And when we went to the Applebee's a couple years ago, went to the first convention, there was a gentleman there that really took us under his wing, and that's something that I'd like to pay tribute to right now. And Marvin, can you come up here for a second, please? Mr. Marvin Altman, can I have a hand for him, please? Mr. Altman, again, we were in a group of about 50 franchisees. Didn't know anybody there, and everybody was busy doing everything that they needed to do to carry on with business. And we were just struggling along, and I think Marvin saw us there kind of looking for somebody to kind of guide us. And one night, I'll never forget it, we were kind of left there kind of wondering, do we catch a cab back to the hotel, or what do we do next now? And Marvin kind of saw us there, and he says, Tony, still come on over here and I'll take you back to the hotel. Let's go into the parking garage. And, you know, he took care of us from that moment on, and the next day was telling us, you know, this franchisee is from that part of the country. You got to look at this, look at that. In essence, he was really a mentor and really provided a tower of strength for us during a time that we didn't know anybody there, and we really appreciate that. And because of that, we have a plaque here that we want to give Marvin that says, Gracias, Marvin Altman, con todo nuestro cariño, de parte de Renaissance Development Corporation, Tony R. Alvarez, Chairman, CEO, and Estela M. Alvarez, Vice President, December 7th. And Marvin, con todo nuestro cariño, it means with all our affection and all of our love. We appreciate
this note, and as all of you would know, and do know, these people are such gracious hosts that we're going to come back. Maybe tomorrow, maybe another week. But we want to thank you all for being here, and especially for honoring these two wonderful people and their lovely, lovely families. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Marvin. Last but not least, Mr. Ed Guston, I think I've taken the liberty to circulate some information on the tables about Mr. Guston and his career with Applebee's, his successful career with Applebee's, and I can see why, to a certain extent. We've had some discussions over the weekend about his experiences in his career and our experiences in our career, and I think
if there's a thread that goes through it, is that sometimes you got to go through some adversity to be able to appreciate the finer times. And Abe has gone through his period of adversity, as we have, and we both know it may not be over yet, but we always look toward the future. And right now I'd like to introduce Mr. Abe Gustin, Chairman, CEO, and President of Applebee's, Inc. Abe?
This mic?
Of course.
That's bad. I've never had a mic in my hand that I didn't hold for about an hour and a half. So everybody sit down, get comfortable, and we're going to tell stories for a while. I would like, this is, Tony was a little off. This is number 348 for the Applebee's chain. It's number 98 this year. And we opened 6 restaurants today, and I said, who's the most deserving, the one we put the most faith in, the person that we really look forward to for the future? And he happens to stand right here. That's just a build-up to get him to do 5 more restaurants in the next 30 years. We do. They are a marvelous family. I've got the opportunity to know their children this week, and it's been something a little bit out of the ordinary that we do as a franchisor. We don't normally get this type of reception. I can only say that I'm happy we came to McAllen rather than Chicago or Minnesota, where it was about 12 below zero. Thank you. Tony, much success.
Abe, we're not done with you yet. You knew that, or at least I hope you think you'd know that.
1 minute, Tony.
Only 1 minute? Okay. We want to make sure that when Abe gets back home to Kansas City that he remembers us. And so we wanted to make this a very memorable occasion for him. And I'll read this plaque that we want to give to him. It's to Abe Gustin, Chairman, President, CEO of Applebee's International Inc. In recognition of your tireless and dedicated efforts in making Applebee's a very successful company and providing an opportunity for a promising future in the Rio Grande Valley, Renaissance Development Corporation, Tony R. Alvarez, Chairman, CEO, Estela M. Alvarez, President, Vice President, on December 7th, 1993. And of course, the Applebee's is right in the valley in McAllen. It's a picture of the state of Texas. So we hope he puts that up where everybody can see it and be very proud of Texas, and especially the Rio Grande Valley. Dave?
Just how good is Applebee's? We took the opportunity to get some feedback from some of the customers on opening day. What did you like best?
I enjoyed the food, but mostly the atmosphere, I guess. It seems so friendly here. The servers and all really seem to enjoy their work.
How would you compare Applebee's to Pepper's?
It's a lot more lively, more enjoyable, yes.
Finish the sentence. Applebee's is?
Applebee's is a lot of fun and a neighborhood place to go and hang out with friends.
Okay. What do you like best about Applebee's?
I love their ribs. Their ribs are great.
Good. What do you like about Applebee's best?
It's a very trendy, upbeat kind of place. It's very modern.
How would you compare it to Pepper's?
I'd say it's probably better than Pepper's. It's one of the better restaurants probably south of San Antonio. It's very good for the valley.
Oh, I love it. The atmosphere here is just real, I don't know, festive. I mean, you got a whole bunch of people, and just the walls are cluttered with memorabilia and sports stuff. It's just real nice. I like it. Around every corner there's a surprise.
Well, I think the atmosphere is great, and I'm not at all uncomfortable bringing my baby along. As a matter of fact, they have a wonderful kids menu. They do.
Is that right?
Yes, they do.
There's a lot of people that you can, actually talk to, very approachable, so I like that the most.
And it cuts across the gamut of society, huh?
Exactly, yes, sir.
And there's a lot of cute girls there, too, huh?
Well, my wife is right here, so there's no way I can answer that one there.
You can't comment on that.
No, sir.
I started with very little. I started with a dream, and a lot of dreams and aspirations and hopes of my family and myself, just being determined that I was going to be able to get into a franchise one day, and really started with no more than that.